I'm the bodyguard of a crime boss. When his son came back to the country, he stared at me in a daze. The boss asked, "You two know each other?" I said, "Not really." That night, Colton cornered me, kissed me, and tugged my shirt open. "Not really. I know your body inside out." 01. With a cigarette between my teeth, I leaned against the wall, eyes half-lidded, letting him press me down. 5 years apart, he'd grown taller, broader. The brat kept groping my waist, his hands sliding lower and lower. One more move and this would get messy. I narrowed my eyes, clamped his wandering hand, and gave a quiet warning, "Enough." Colton didn't resist. His palm rested against my crotch as he bent down, resting his head on my shoulder with a smug grin. "Bro, your body says you missed me like crazy." His tone dripped with arrogance, cocky and fearless, something I'd spoiled into him. I shoved his hand away and slowly buckled my belt. "Anyone touches me like that, I'll enjoy it." Then I yanked his head off my shoulder and looked at him carefully. Still so damn good looking. A face that could ruin me if I let it. But I'd already learned the hard way. If I fall for him again, I'm just an idiot. I patted his cheek lightly and smirked. "You're not all that." 02. Once bitten by a snake, you'll fear the rope for 10 years. Colton was that snake. The year I met him, he'd just turned 18, white shirt, blue school jacket, stiff and proper. He played drums in a bar band, standing out among a crowd of flashy kids. That mix of innocence and wildness was dangerously tempting. I'd just gotten out of prison and was working bar security, 7 fights in one night, all because of Colton. Every time he tossed a ring or bracelet off the stage, it started trouble. Later, because he loved to stir things up without cleaning his own mess, he got cornered by a few drunk punks on the way home. I happened to be passing through an alley and saved his neck. The kid's shirt collar was ripped, cheeks slapped red. While I was fighting for him up front, he leaned against the wall cheering me on. I remember thinking, what a damn reckless brat. After I floored those drunks, Colton strolled over lazily and kicked one guy straight in the groin. "Still think you can mess with me?" The man screamed bloody murder. I hissed in a breath, grabbed Colton. "That's enough." Colton instantly switched to a sweet smile. "Thanks for tonight, bro." Then turned around, gave the other guy a kick too, and stuck his tongue out at me. "Fair's fair, one each." I couldn't help but laugh in anger and walked off. Not my problem. But Colton followed me, all the way to my building. "Bro, I've got nowhere to go. You saved me. Take me in for the night?" I asked about his parents. "Both gone," he said. I looked at that perfect face and my heart softened. Soft enough not only to take him in, but to take him into my bed. When Colton wanted someone, he got them easily. He blocked me in the bathroom once. "Bro, everyone wants a piece of me, don't you?" He tilted his head, kissed my chin. "I won't let them touch me, only you." Who could say no to that? Truth is, the first time I saw him on stage, I'd already undressed him 100 times in my head. Now he was in front of me, saying things like that. Of course I caved. Later, when we ended up in bed, Colton lay on top of me saying he was scared it might hurt. He was so young. I let him take the lead, let him push me down. But give in once, you'll give in again. When he got bold, Colton pinned me in the bar stairwell, biting the back of my neck with his canine teeth. "Don't let anyone hear." The music in the bar was so loud no one could hear anyway, but Colton liked it risky, and I let him have his way. Once or twice I could still get out, but the more we slept together, the deeper I fell. When I realized I was catching feelings, I told Colton straight, either we date for real, or we're done. Colton just smiled that breathtaking smile. "Bro, we've been dating this whole time. I gave you my first time, why would you leave me?" He was 18, repeating his senior year of high school. He didn't care about the future, but I had to. I had a record, my life was already ruined, but Colton had everything ahead of him. I couldn't let him waste it running the streets with me. I started keeping him in line, pushing him to study. Colton behaved, stopped fooling around, worked hard for the college entrance exam. To keep him focused, I quit the bar job and cooked for him 3 meals a day. Back then, I gave him everything I had, my whole heart, nothing left. But Colton lied to me. When old coworkers said they saw him at a private club, I didn't believe it, until I saw him myself, walking out with a bunch of rich kids. I followed them, overheard their talk. "Hey, still not sick of that delivery guy? Better dump him soon." That musclehead, was he good in bed? I've never tried that type. Colton gave the guy a cold glance, blew on his cigarette, and said, "Open your mouth." Then pressed the burning tip onto his tongue. "If you can't talk right, shut up." I almost stormed over to beat Colton senseless. Instead, I just pulled out my phone and called him. Colton glanced at the screen and didn't pick up. His buddy asked, "Why not answer?" Colton frowned, irritation all over his face. "He's too controlling," he muttered. When the ringing stopped, I called again. Colton sighed, put on that fake sweet smile, and answered, "Hey, bro," nearly made me laugh. "What an actor," I said. "Colton, turn around." 03. A sharp pain shot through my wrist, pulling my thoughts back. Colton was gripping my wrist hard. "Who touched you? Who are you comparing me to? Have you tried a lot of people these past few years, bro?" Colton's tone was soft, his lashes trembling. It was as if I said yes, he'd start crying on the spot. I shrugged him off with a light laugh. "None of your business." "Of course it's my business." Colton lifted his eyes. The corners reddened. "You're mine. Mine alone. You can't try it with anyone else." What an idiot. Suddenly, a crashing noise came from downstairs. Then Carter's irritated voice rang out. "Where's Weston? I want Weston. Let him come here right now and deal with me acting up." Carter was my boss Nolan's youngest son, Colton's younger brother. 4 years ago, enemies kidnapped him, he nearly died. I happened to save him, he survived. But his leg was ruined. Because of that, Nolan hired me as a bodyguard. Maybe because I saved Carter in such extreme danger, his dependence on me became almost pathological. When he was first rescued, he demanded I stay with him 24/7, or he'd grow restless, even insane. I pushed Colton aside and ran downstairs. The living room was trashed. Carter had smashed everything he could. He clutched the wheelchair tightly, breathing hard. I strode over, knelt in front of him, and said softly, "Young master, I'm here." The moment he saw me, tears streamed down his face, and his body relaxed. "Weston, where have you been? I couldn't find you. I had a nightmare. I couldn't find you anywhere." "I'm here, don't be afraid." I lifted him from the wheelchair and carried him upstairs. "I'll stay with you while you sleep." Colton stood on the second floor, head down, back straight. As I passed, he tugged my shirt hem, hoarse, whispering, "Bro." Carter curled into my arms, head down, tightening his grip around my neck. I freed myself from Colton and kept walking upstairs. Before Carter fell asleep, he held my hand tight and stubbornly said, "Weston, don't leave, okay?" He was even younger than Colton, his feelings were easy to read, a child's possessiveness. I stroked his head. "I'm not leaving, sleep now." Later that night, my boss Nolan called. Colton was in trouble. In the middle of the night, he'd gone racing with enemies, someone tampered with his car, and Colton almost went over a cliff. A fight broke out. "I'm stuck in Lucheng. Weston, you need to check on him." By the time I brought people to Eaglehead Mountain, chaos had erupted. Colton held a knife, ready to stab Easton in the eye. I cursed, shouted to stop him, and grabbed his hand. "Calm down." His tense muscles slowly relaxed. He lifted his bloodied face and said, "Bro, I almost died just now. I just wanted to take one eye. Isn't that too much?" He chuckled, letting go of the knife. "But if you won't let me get revenge, I don't want it. I'll obey you, bro." He tilted his head obediently, eyes sparkling, like a little dog waiting for its owner's praise. "You love it when I listen to you," I thought. When he looked at me like that, it was as if I were his whole world, free to tease, to dominate, to possess. But it was all a show. I swallowed, tore my gaze away, took the knife, lifted him, and pushed him behind me. I scanned around, grabbed a steel rod, and struck his bent leg hard before he could stand. Revenge still needs to be taken. Just, not by Colton. I'd been hired for the dirty work. I tossed a card onto the wailing Easton. "Heal properly, don't cripple him." Then the rod, grabbed Colton, and left. 04. As soon as we got in the car, Colton pounced on the driver's seat. Like a dog, he bit and kissed me. His hands roamed urgently, clothes all messed up. I struggled, and Colton, seemingly enraged, held my arms tight, no chance to resist. From teenage years to young adulthood, there's a difference. 5 years ago, Colton tried to pin me down. It wasn't so easy. Now, we were evenly matched. He kissed me recklessly, whispering nonsense. "I knew you wouldn't abandon me. You still love me. You're mine." From lips to chin, to neck, he kissed hard. It hurt a little, but mostly it felt good. Just as he said, our bodies knew each other well. Damn it, if this continued, he'd have his way with me again. When he kissed my lower stomach, I grabbed his hair, yanked him up, and punched him. "Get off." Colton licked his crimson lips, tugged my hand downward. "Bro, touch me. Touch how much I've missed you. Thinking about it makes me explode." I clamped his neck and shoved him away. "Stop pretending to be lovesick. Colton, You were the one who left first. 05. Back then, my indulgence toward Colton had already crossed the line. It was outrageous. Thinking about it now, it seems almost laughable. That night, Colton turned and saw me, his face instantly drained of color. I watched his panic, smashed my phone onto him, and said, "Colton, I'm done with you, get the hell out." Turning away, I felt a hollow in my chest. Colton caught up, wrapping me in a tight embrace, hot tears landing on my neck. "Bro, you heard me, right? I didn't mean any of it. I wasn't trying to avoid going home. I'll listen, I'll always listen from now on." He trembled with fear, kissing my neck and ears frantically. "Bro, don't leave me." He had the nerve to cry, to cling to me. I should have been the one crying. I pushed him away. "Colton, can you stop playing with me? I'm 28, I just want someone for life. I can't play around." Back then, I truly loved Colton, even knowing he was a liar. I loved him, but I couldn't kneel at his feet and let him trample me. I was a human being, god damn it. But Colton didn't give me a break. He was clingy, squatting outside my door, playing pitiful, like a dog. No matter what, I couldn't chase him away. He would deliberately drink spiked liquor in the bar, let people take him in front of me. He loved watching me get furious, rushing to fight for him, rescuing him, then smiling, kissing me. If you hadn't come, I'd have killed them and turned myself in. I trembled with anger. "Colton, are you trying to ruin yourself?" Colton burned all over, kissing my ear, his voice low. "If you don't care about me, I will. If you don't mind, you could leave now, leave me to someone else." I didn't leave. I couldn't watch him with someone else. Colton was like opium, you touch him once and you're hooked. I knew he lied, schemed, and yet I still threw myself at him, blindly, like a man possessed. 18-year-old Colton pinned me against the door, kissed my stomach, knelt before me, wrapped his arms around my waist, and promised me like a devoted worshiper, "Bro, I'll never leave you in my life. Forgive me, okay?" I gripped his hair tightly. I thought, fine, I could never really let him go. I stitched up the wound in my heart haphazardly and told myself, trust him just once more, only once. Then, when I was most addicted, Colton left, without a word, gone, no explanation, no goodbye, nothing. Every promise he'd made, just empty words. He couldn't change, not ever. 06. I didn't mean it. Back then, Colton tried to explain, urgently. I cut him off. I don't want to hear it. It didn't matter anymore. When I wanted to hear him explain before, he didn't give it. Now I didn't want it. I straightened my clothes and asked, I just want to know, before you agreed to that race, did you know the car was dangerous? Colton laughed lightly, openly admitting, I knew. He knew it was dangerous and still drove, putting his own life on the line, using himself as bait, to draw me out. Colton loved this kind of game. He liked standing on the edge of a cliff, watching me worry, watching me fight for him. I'd be terrified, and he'd bask in it. It must feel good for him. With a flick of his hand, he could control my emotions, toy with me like a dog. It was cruel. 5 years, and you're still acting the same play. Don't you ever get tired? Colton, what are you trying to prove? That I still have feelings left for you? I tilted my head. Honestly, if it wasn't for his order, I wouldn't have come to see you tonight. Colton, you don't matter anymore. If you want to die, go far away. Don't drag me into it. Colton's smile faded. If I don't matter, who does? Carter, you've got your eye on him, so you're abandoning me? His eyes reddened, his words frantic. What's so good about him? Not as handsome as me, a cripple. Does he even please you? You get turned on watching him, or do you just like 18-year-olds? Shut up. I slapped him hard, trembling with anger. Carter is your brother. Colton, if you ruin me, fine, but don't ruin him. Colton's head turned aside, dark hair falling over his eyes. He didn't move for a long moment. Then he wiped blood from his lips and said softly, Carter isn't my brother. He lifted his head, black eyes cold and deep, calm to the extreme. Bro, did you give your heart to him? How can you give what's mine to him? He doesn't deserve you. I'll show you, only I am worthy of you. 07. We got home around 4 in the morning. The sky was still dark, but the living room lights were on. Carter sat there, staring blankly at the TV. Hearing movement, he turned sharply and brightened at the sight of me. Weston, you're back. Colton followed, standing behind me. Carter gripped the armrest, uneasy, and called to Colton. Bro. Colton didn't even blink. I rushed over and crouched in front of him. Why are you awake so early? Carter lowered his eyes, looking sad. I woke up in the middle of the night. You weren't there. I couldn't sleep. Guilt pricked me. I had promised to stay with him last night. I had failed. Carter's gaze swept my face. Then he raised a hand to touch my lips. Weston, why are your lips swollen? His cold fingertip pressed my burning lips. It felt strange. I kissed you. Colton pressed against me from behind, leaned over, and pushed Carter's hand away. Look closely. Maybe your tongue's swollen too. Carter pursed his lips, staring at Colton, face pale. Stop joking. Weston is a man, you're a man, how could you? I took a deep breath, tempted to smash Colton's head against the wall. I reached for Carter. Don't listen to him. I'll carry you upstairs to sleep a bit more. Before I could touch him, Colton kicked Carter's wheelchair aside, stepped past me, and hoisted Carter onto his shoulder. I'll take him upstairs to sleep, he said, tilting his head. Bro, you've had a long night too. Go rest. Carter struggled, calling me for help. Weston. I didn't move. I let Colton carry him away. Carter couldn't rely on me forever. After all, I was an outsider. 08. He had hinted before. Weston, you can't stay with Carter forever. Some obstacles he has to face on his own. Over the past year, I had deliberately kept my distance from Carter. Last night, he'd acted out too much. After returning to Hangzhou, he gradually delegated some authority to Colton and told me, Weston, Colton is extreme. Keep an eye on him for me. I'll feel at ease. Colton wasn't extreme, he was reckless, too ruthless, too absolute, easily made enemies, even though it was business. Now, most of the circles were just reformed gangs, pushed them too far, and knives and guns were inevitable. There were several times Colton had been attacked, close to death. The worst was when he got stabbed in the stomach and spent 3 months in the hospital. I smoked half a pack outside before going in and told him, I'm begging you, value your life. Colton, pale but defiant, teased, kiss me, and I'll value my life. 1 kiss, and he'd behave. 1 kiss, and he'd stay out of bars. 1 kiss, and he wouldn't run. It was all lies. I lowered my eyes at him. Colton, stop being a brat. 6 months following Colton felt longer than 3 years, constantly on the move, rarely home. On the second master's birthday, a banquet was held at home. Inside, the lights were bright. I crouched in the backyard, smoking. Suddenly, someone called my name. Weston. Looking up, I saw Carter sitting on the second-floor windowsill. Weston, if I jump from here, can you catch me? I nearly swallowed my smoke. Pointing at him, I said, don't move. Wait, I'll come up. I ran upstairs and scooped him down from the windowsill. His forehead was slick with sweat. Before I could scold him, Carter wrapped his arms tightly around my waist. 142 days. Weston, it's been 142 days since you last came to see me. My throat tightened. I said hoarsely, sorry, I've been busy, but also avoiding him intentionally. If my legs worked, his warm tears seeped into my clothes. Then I wouldn't have to wait here for you. I could grab you like my brother does. I felt the heat rising and pushed him gently. Master, let go first. Carter's warm hands slipped under my shirt, gripping my lower back. Weston, what Colton can do, I can do too. Be gentle with me too. I suddenly realized my body was burning unnaturally. I couldn't even push him away. I hadn't noticed before. There was a strange scent in the room. Judging by the situation, it was probably an aphrodisiac. Carter left a trail of wet kisses on my lower stomach, trembling and crying softly. Don't push me away, Weston, I beg you. I held his hands, about to speak, when the door was suddenly kicked open. Colton appeared, dragging me behind him, punching Carter in the face. He lifted Carter from the wheelchair, threw him to the floor, and raised his leg to kick. I shouted sharply, Colton, grabbing his arm. I stopped the kick. Colton froze, the foot midair. Back to me. Bro, can you stop protecting him in front of me? He tilted his head, eyes red at the corners. I won't hit him anymore. Don't play hero in front of others. Okay. I had no patience for his nonsense. Gripping his wrist, gasping, I said, call a doctor, give me an injection. Colton didn't answer. He hoisted me up and left. Carter screamed from behind, don't go. Weston, don't go with him. 09. I still had some rational thought. Knowing what Colton intended, I spoke word by word. Colton, call a doctor for me. Colton said, I am the doctor. By the time we reached his room, I was delirious with fever. When Colton leaned in, I took control, pinning him to the door, fingers tangled in his hair, pressing his head as I claimed his lips. Colton, almost drugged, was more excited than me. He ripped my clothes, kissing my ears, neck, collarbones, murmuring, bro, I really missed you so much. We were like two wild beasts, wanting to devour each other. We didn't even reach the bed. By the next morning, buttons were missing from our clothes. Clothes were scattered from the door to the windowsill. Decorations knocked over. Colton was gone. I smoked on the windowsill as my phone vibrated. It was a message from the second master. Come, third floor, ancestral hall. Inside, Colton knelt straight. The second master sat on a sofa, a rattan whip beside him. Brothers fighting like this. Colton, is this how you act as an elder brother? Elder brother? Colton sneered. You forgot. I'm an only child. The second master lowered his eyes. If you won't admit guilt, accept punishment. He handed me the whip. I opened my mouth. Second master, last night, Colton was not at fault. The second master raised his gaze, calm yet commanding. Weston, do it. I lowered my head. Yes, no need to say more. The second master knew everything. Everything that happened last night, he knew. He just wanted to scold Colton, protect Carter, and discipline me in passing. 100 lashes. Colton's back didn't bend. He stayed silent. Afterward, I was sweatier than him. Colton steadied himself, leaning on me, looking at the second master. Is it done? Can I go if I've had enough? Supporting him out of the ancestral hall, he was silent, deep in thought. At the third floor corner, he suddenly pressed my shoulder and whispered in my ear. Bro, I'll buy a whip for you. Next time I misbehave, you can hit me. Blushing, his voice low and hoarse. Just thinking it's you whipping me, it feels really good. 10. After sending Colton to his room, my phone buzzed again. Study. I gripped the phone and stood outside for a moment before going in. Not unfamiliar, right? Nolan leaned on the balcony, beckoning me over. I walked up. He tilted his head, brushing aside my collar to rub at the marks on my neck with his fingers. Calmly, he said, that kid almost kissed this area to pieces. Why is it okay with Colton, but not with Carter? Carter had given me the drug, yet I slept with Colton. No doubt, he knew everything that happened last night. I said, last night was an accident. Colton inherited half of his looks from Nolan. Step back 20 years, and Nolan probably looked a lot like Colton at that age. Only now, Nolan had wrapped his sharpness in a calm, mild exterior. Inside, he was still a madman. Weston, 3 years ago, you told me you'd only ever be a bodyguard. Nolan's hand went up, pinching my jaw. Now, you've slept with my son. Nolan was bi, had lovers everywhere, and never lacked options. 3 years ago, drunk, he had even asked, Weston, want to try with me? I refused. A lover is a lover, a bodyguard is a bodyguard. He understood the distinction. Now, I had slept with Colton right under his nose. That wasn't just being a bodyguard anymore. I said, second master, I can resign. Nolan laughed, releasing me. Silly talk. You've been with me for so many years. If you want to leave, I'd have to be willing first. He didn't force people. He just enjoyed having the choice. I understood the reasoning. He said, watch Colton for me. Don't let him ruin himself. I'm still waiting for him to continue my line. Lowering his eyes, you too, just play. Don't get attached. 11. Nolan said to watch Colton, yet sent him away for a month, taking me along for endless social engagements. In a private room, I drank until dizzy. Nolan patted the boy on his lap, lifting his chin toward me. The boy glanced at me and walked over. Sir, want some water? I raised my eyelids, eyes flicking to Nolan. He sat in dim light, smoke blurring his features, cold eyes quietly watching me, not trusting me, worried I'd cling to Colton. He was providing me a diversion. I looked down and drank the water the boy offered, drank too fast, spilling over my lips. The boy leaned in to lick it. I blocked him. Did you just kiss someone else? Only one. The boy's eyes widened. You dislike me? I smiled faintly. Sorry, a little. He stomped and ran off to complain to Nolan. I shrugged mentally. Boring. Physique and face, both far inferior. Damn. Spoiled by Colton. After blocking a few more rounds of drinks from Nolan, I went to the bathroom to vomit. After washing my face, I looked up. Nolan was behind me, handing me a handkerchief. I watched his long, angular fingers in the mirror, refusing it. Nolan stepped closer, pinching my face to wipe it himself. I struggled. He said softly, don't move. The handkerchief brushed from my forehead down to my eyes and nose. Kingston says you think he's dirty. Kingston must have been the boy earlier. I didn't respond. Do you dislike him, or because he kissed me, think I'm dirty? I avoided the question. Second master, if you keep wiping, it'll get ruined. Nolan laughed, tossing the cloth on the sink. He pushed me against the sink, one hand on the back of my neck, the other undoing my belt. I didn't resist. If Nolan was determined, no skill I had could stop him. Second master, after Colton came back. He's been working so hard. Do you know why? Nolan's eyes stayed down, indifferent, as he opened my zipper. Because he wants your approval, wants you to notice him. 5 years ago, you sent Colton abroad, leaving Carter behind. At that time, Hangzhou's powers were in flux. It was dangerous. You couldn't watch both sons, so you kept one close and sent the other away to fend for himself. You abandoned Colton, chose Carter. You wanted to train Carter as heir, but fate didn't cooperate. You lost him, his legs were ruined, he couldn't inherit, so you had to call Colton back. If Carter hadn't been disabled, Colton could never have returned, right? After 4 years, having heard so many rumors, some truths could be inferred. Nolan looked at me through the mirror, gaze icy. I met his eyes. I understood all that. You think Colton doesn't? Colton understands, but he's still stupid. He thinks that if he achieves something, you'll notice him, at least see him as a son. Nolan's brow twitched. Even unloving fathers and sons share blood. I continued, Second Master, tonight, I could sleep with you or anyone. You could take this knife and kill Colton. Doesn't matter, you don't care whether he lives or dies anyway. Nolan's hand clamped my neck from behind. Weston, don't overestimate yourself. It's not me overestimating myself, it's you overestimating me. I pried his hand away. Second Master, when you sent Colton abroad, did he beg you? Nolan's eyes darkened for a moment. A flash of pause. I released him, looking down to tie my belt. Did he kneel? Was that the first time he bowed and pleaded with you not to send him away? Nolan didn't answer. I had followed Nolan for 4 years. I knew that look. He had been called out. My chest tightened with a slow, insistent ache. Not sharp, just annoying. I wanted to punch my boss. I took a deep breath, pushing Nolan away, teasing. No wonder Colton said when we first met that his parents were dead. With him like this, what's the difference? 12. I'd angered Nolan and was sent out on assignments, running all over the country for 3 months. By the time I returned to Hangzhou, I was nearly sunburned black. Just after landing, Nolan sent a message, Tianyuan residence, 601, pick up Colton. The private room was chaotic. The door opened, and nobody noticed. I scanned twice before spotting Colton. He leaned against the sofa, holding a bottle, with 2 young boys on either side, feeding him drinks. He drank as they offered. When the drinks were finished, one boy went to undo his buttons, leaning in as if to kiss him. Colton tilted back against the sofa, unmoving. I loosened my tie and strode over. The boy pressed his body against Colton, cupping his face and coaxing. I'm your brother. I'm here. Want me? I laughed angrily. You're his brother. Then who am I? While the boy froze, I pushed him aside, kneeling by the sofa, one hand on the backrest, patting Colton's cheek. The Second Master sent me to pick you up. Come with me. Colton's gaze traced my face. He lifted a hand, brushing my cheek, whispering, Brother, why don't you want me anymore? His mind was clouded. The alcohol here carried some aphrodisiac. I scooped him up and carried him sideways. Once in the car, Colton suddenly grabbed my collar, pulling me down as his lips collided with mine. I froze for a moment, then pressed his head to kiss back. Little bastard. So shameless. Everyone wants a taste. Might as well kiss him to death. Colton flipped me onto the car seat, eyes closed, kissing me from lips down to collarbone, slowly descending. He called my name, tears streaming. He looked like he was in pain. He might not even know whose lips he was on. If I hadn't come, he could have slept with anyone tonight, crying, calling my name, kissing someone else. Could I blame him? Could I say he didn't love me? This was my biggest fear. Colton was too reckless, too extreme, didn't value himself, didn't care whether he ruined himself. Being with him was exhausting. Every moment, I felt anxious, afraid that one slip would mean disaster. Colton couldn't be changed. 13. It was already past midnight. I didn't send Colton home. Instead, we got a hotel room, just to get through the night. I woke early. After washing up, Colton still slept, so I prepared to leave. At the bedside, reaching for my phone, I was suddenly grabbed and pulled back onto the bed. Colton pressed against me, his head buried in my neck. Brother, have you ever, with Nolan? My body froze. Why would he ask that? Before I could speak, Colton bit my neck. I gasped. Brother, say no. Even if you lie. His neck was wet with tears. Please, say no. I'll convince myself to forgive you. I sighed. Who told you that? Colton stiffened for a moment, then spun off the bed, dressing silently. He even took the gun from my waist. Before he left, I grabbed him. Where are you going? Colton looked at me coldly. Kill Nolan. My temple throbbed. I didn't sleep with Nolan. Who spread this rumor to you? Do you understand? Colton's eyes instantly reddened. Stop lying. He pulled a photo from his pocket and threw it at me. It was me and Nolan in a club bathroom. Nolan had his hands on my belt. It looked like we'd been together. The photo even showed Nolan's head partially destroyed. Only a few people could take such a picture. Not Nolan. He wouldn't betray his own son. That left. Carter gave it to you. Colton glared at me, confirming it. I saw his expression, betrayed and furious, and couldn't help but smile. Relax. We didn't sleep. Pants weren't even off. What about the photo? I couldn't explain. So I said, it's nothing. Colton was clearly dissatisfied. Eyes wide, tears spilling. Brother, you're so rotten. You won't even bother explaining. You don't love me anymore. I laughed angrily. Colton, who's really rotten here? The anger I'd held surged. You lied to me. You left for abroad without a word. You came back, entangling everything. Carter gives you a photo, and you just guess. Don't ask, and go drown yourself in alcohol. If I hadn't picked you up yesterday, you wouldn't even know who was in your bed this morning. Luckily, I don't love you. If I still did, you'd have torn my heart to pieces. By the end, my eyes stung. Colton panicked, clumsily wrapping his arms around me. No, brother, I wasn't drunk. I know it's you. Last night, when you walked in, I saw you. I was pretending, to make you jealous. Don't be angry. I'm yours. I'd never let anyone sleep with me. I'm not stupid. I know whose lips are whose. If I dared sleep with anyone else, you would have run already. Damn it. Even angrier, I punched Colton, knocked him to the floor, then kicked him. Having fun, idiot. 14. After finishing the errands, I returned home to report to Nolan. In the study, Nolan leaned back in his chair and said, Weston, follow up on the Luching project. I replied, thank you, Second Master. As I left, Nolan said, it's best you don't come back to Hangzhou. I nodded in agreement. Passing through the garden, I saw Carter on the second-floor windowsill, timidly calling, Weston. I turned, and Carter gave me a small, pale smile. If I jump from here, could you catch me? I stared at him for a long moment. Carter, no one can catch you. That's your life. I turned away. On the wind, I caught a soft, sorry. Carter didn't necessarily love me. He just treated me as his possession. And he didn't want to share his possession with Colton, not even a little. 15. Lucheng wasn't big, much smaller than Hangzhou. Nolan had acquired a few large factories here, and I became the general manager. A promotion, of sorts. When Colton came to see me, I was shirtless, hauling goods with a group of workers, purely because I was bored. Nolan sent you here to manage, not to work as a laborer. I didn't respond, wiping sweat with a towel. Colton began criticizing my office, the desk, the chair, even the small ornaments on the cabinet, writing out a long, meticulous list. I was exasperated, washing my face. I asked, what exactly do you want? Colton stared at me. I want you to come back to Hangzhou with me. I said, I'm not going. Colton got angry. Look at how you live here. You've tanned several shades darker. Standing in front of me, I almost thought you were a block of chocolate. He touched my cropped hair, as if lamenting something. Your old hairstyle was so handsome. Now you're standing in a field, and I can't tell you apart from a farmhand. I wanted to laugh. Young master, this is who I am. I belong to this class. This is the life I'm meant to live. Wearing a suit and tie doesn't make me your kind. I'm already lucky to have been promoted to general manager, better than many. Life here is comfortable, better than at home. I've braved wind and rain for half my life, the rest. I just want peace. Hangzhou is too big for me. Colton didn't protest. Silent for a long moment, then looked down. But I really miss you. I swallowed, looking away. Better forget it. The second master is still waiting for you to carry on the family line. Colton looked up, eyes deep and serious. Brother, sometimes I really want to kiss your mouth to pieces. He lunged and kissed me. Carry on the family line. I'll make Nolan have no descendants. I grabbed his hair, dodging his mouth. Weren't you complaining I'm chocolate? Colton went to undo my pants. I love chocolate. Give me a bite. 16. Colton told me that the day his mother was taken by Nolan's enemies, Nolan was outside his lover's delivery room, waiting for Carter's birth. By the time Nolan went to save her, Colton's mother was already dead. Colton hated Nolan. Nolan didn't like Colton. Colton hugged me tightly. Brother, no one loves me. No one cares for me. No one protects me, except you. No one taught me to cherish myself, or how to love others. Before I met you, I didn't know. I'm immature, aren't I? Sorry, brother, I just want to prove, you'll always love me. His temples damp, whispering like in a dream, brother, don't leave me, don't give up on me, teach me, I'll try to learn. Learn from you, how to love you. The pillow was soaked from his tears, he was entirely made of water. I patted Colton's head, hugged him back, and sighed, alright, sleep now, crybaby. The next morning, Colton was called back to Hangzhou by Nolan. I stayed in Lucheng, drinking tea, playing cards, and watching sunsets, living the life of an old man. Colton came to Lucheng when he had free time. I spent time with him, listening to him talk. When he left, I didn't follow, just returned to my quiet life. Once, as he left, Colton said, brother, I feel like you don't love me as much as before. I saw the disappointment in him. He was 26, yet his gaze still burned with the same intensity and anxiety as when he was 18. I knew what Colton wanted to hear, but I was afraid to say it, afraid that giving too much would make him waste it again. I no longer had the luxury to be wasted, but I was willing to be honest. Colton, it's not that I don't love you, I'm afraid you'll deceive me. You rushed to confirm my love, but did you ever think I might feel uncertain too? Colton looked at me for a moment, pressing his forehead to mine, nose touching mine. It's okay, brother, don't worry, even if you don't love me fully, it's fine. You just stand here, and I'll be the one to love you. Later, Colton broke with Nolan. He took the household registration and dragged me abroad to get married. Nolan called Lucheng, scolding Colton from the balcony late at night. I don't see why you had to get a certificate. Nolan muttered. Colton replied, who gets married without one? Nolan was furious, but he's a man. Dad, he's old-fashioned. Without that certificate, he's not at ease. Colton said, it has nothing to do with men or women. I love him. I want him at ease. It's that simple. You've never loved or been loved. You don't understand. I could hear Nolan shouting even louder at night, but after scolding, Nolan relented. Later, Nolan called me, Weston, you've got skills. In his life, Colton has only lowered his head twice, both times for you. If it weren't to protect you, he'd never call me dad again. I smiled, narrowing my eyes, softly saying, I'm not skilled. Second master, you don't understand. Nolan fell silent. I looked up and saw Colton on the balcony, fussing with my two almost dead potted plants. I called, Colton. He turned. I said, I love you. Colton's eyes lit up instantly, just like when he was 18.